of these people, Michael, are male.
But what is the difference between an illegal immigrant who unfortunately engages in that activity?
And we don't like that. I want to be clear. We don't use the term illegal. So
yeah, we don't.
Undocumented individuals.
They're illegal aliens.
Wait a minute. So the rhetoric matters more than the reality of the crime that was committed by the illegal immigrant? I mean, these people are crazy.
During your response to her heckling of you, you used the word illegal when talking about the man who allegedly killed Laken Riley.
An undocumented person. And I shouldn't have used illegal. I should have, it's undocumented. And look.
Listen, before we hear this video, and again, before we listen to Kevin Roberts, he is the president of the Heritage Foundation. How could you forget this guy? Because he lit on fire in Davos in this video. Yeah, I had to react to this one because he was just way too good, somebody.
One thing that Davos, you might say, and the people come here stand up for, is liberal democracy.
It's laughable that you would, or anyone would describe Davos as protecting liberal democracy. I'll be candid here because I think I've been invited here to be candid. Elites tell us that open borders and even illegal immigration are okay. The average person tells us in the United States that both rob them of the American way of life. Elites also tell us that public safety isn't a problem in big American cities. Just travel to New York or Washington or Dallas, Texas. The average person will tell you that the lack of public safety damages not just the American way of life, but their life. Elites tell us that we have this existential crisis with so-called climate change. The solutions, the average person know, cost more human lives, especially in Europe during the time that you need heating, than do the problem and the problems themselves. The fourth, China. The number one adversary, not just to the United States, but to free people on planet Earth. Not only do we at Davos not say that, we give the Chinese Communist Party a platform. And fifth, as we sit here, another supranational organization, the World Health Organization, is discussing foisting gender ideology upon the global South. These are practices that are under review, if not being rejected, by countries in Northern Europe. The new president, especially if it's President Trump, will, as you like to say, trust the science. He will understand the basic biological reality of manhood and womanhood. And do you know why? Not because of retribution, not because he's a dictator, but because he has the power of the American people behind him. Let me just correct the slight assertion you made there. We want Ukraine to win. We want to see Ukraine win with a lot more help from European allies. I think the United States has a role. Heritage has been clear about this for 2 years now, that there is a world in which we support military aid for Ukraine. Our first obligation in foreign policy is to look at it through the lens of what's best for the American citizen. Joe Biden has done a god-awful job in articulating what that is. The kind of person who will come into the next conservative administration is going to be governed by one principle, and that is destroying the grasp that political elites and unelected technocrats have over the average person. And if I may, I will be candid and say that the agenda that every single member of the administration needs to have is to compile a list of everything that's ever been proposed at the World Economic Forum and object all of them wholesale.
Goodness. I mean, it's just brutal. Anyway, so much more could be said. Listen, I had to save that in my archives. I said, this one, I will never lose this video. It's just way too good. All right, let's get back to serious business here. I mean, that was serious business, what we just watched, but let's get back to some more serious business. Here is the thing. This conversation is on the heel of this young lady who lost her life. Her name is Jocelyn. Listen, God rest. May she rest in peace. And I pray for the family to get through this hard time. I have sons and I have a daughter. This is not funny. Illegal migrant lured Jocelyn Nongore, 12-year-old, under a bridge, assaulted her for 2 hours before ending her. Prosecutors. And here is the thing, man. This was harsh, man. This was harsh. This was harsh. Now, what's even more disturbing, again, this is the kind of people we're letting people in. When Donald Trump is saying they're poisoning the blood of this country, this is what he's talking about. He's not talking about all migrants, right, that are coming in. But illegal migrants that are coming in, a lot of these guys, they're criminals. They're gangsters. Okay, they were in prison. Some of these people were in mental asylum. They are completely deranged. It's like you throw them in this country. What do you think they're going to do? They can't work. They are poor. They're in a system. They're living off American dollars. And they have nothing to do with themselves. Crimes. You put a bunch of men together in a place and you give them nothing to do. They have no sense of purpose. They will commit crime. That's just what psychology has proven to each one of us. But nevertheless, and again, this should not have happened. If we had a decent policy in place, if the border was closed, if Joe Biden was doing his job, this would have never happened. We know that. Well, anyway, Kevin Roberts is going to give these MSNBC, MSSB, a reality check. But they're going to be focusing more on the rhetoric than the fact that he's going to spew. This man speaks his mind. You don't have to like what he has to say, but he tells it like it is. That's what I love about this guy. Let's take a listen.
Asking about immigration and how you see immigration, how in this plan, how you talk about using like the National Guard to deport individuals. Like, what is the, Alicia, and do tell me if I am adequately
people on the interior
summarizing.
specifically.
People
not
on
the
the
border.
interior specifically, not people in the border, people within this country.
Well, first of all, we need to close the border. And secondly, we need to have the biggest mass deportation system ever in the history of America, because it is unjust and illegal and evil that more than 10 million illegal aliens have come to this country. It's imperative that we send those people back, invite them back to come through the legal system. We love immigrants at Heritage, but we also love the rule of law.
So how do you plan to carry that out?
Well,
are you talking about going door to door? Because that's what I mean, I could read from the plan, but I think
the first thing is that there's going to be a lot of self-deportation. The interesting thing, as you no doubt know, is that simply talking about this and beginning to implement a plan, and President Trump deserves a lot of credit for talking about this, causes people to say, I don't want to run the risk of being arrested for doing something illegal. But secondly, there are great plans using the Department of Homeland Security to return these people back to south of the border. The great thing is, even a majority of people on the political left agree with this, because they see the damage that this has done.
Well, before we go,
I think we want to take a couple more minutes, and so I know we're being told to wrap, but we want to take a few more minutes.
I'll stay as long as you want.
No. Just ask you real quick. So what do these people do? What are they doing now?
Which people?
The folks, the 11 million, 20 million, whatever you want to deport.
A lot of them are committing crimes like murdering the 12-year-old girl in Houston. In fact,
so that's
we're very concerned about that.
One out of 11 million. What is the?
We can take the remaining time of the segment, and I can give you a lot of examples.
In Texas, undocumented immigrants were 37.1% less likely to be convicted of a crime. Undocumented immigrants, and according to a survey, University of California Riverside study, 33% less likely to be in prison as of 2021. I'm just giving the numbers.
Well, what do you tell the parents of those people, those young girls who were killed? This is absurdity. The preponderance of these people, Michael, are male.
But what is the difference between an illegal?
I love when they try to bring the facts, and the facts just doesn't. It doesn't matter. One illegal immigrant committing crimes is just one too many. Do you understand? They're not supposed to be here, not in this way. They skip the line. This is not okay. And the fact that you're trying to justify these people, that's the problem. It shows you're putting America last and illegal migrants first. And that's not okay. That is not okay.
Of those people, those young girls who were killed. This is absurdity. The preponderance of these people, Michael, are male.
But what is the difference between an illegal immigrant who unfortunately engages in that activity?
And we don't like that. I want to be clear. We don't use the term illegal. So undocumented individuals.
Let's get the rhetoric correct. You see what I'm talking about here. The conversation has completely shifted from talking about what they did wrong and the nature of the behavior to the point where let's focus on the rhetoric here. You got to get the term correct. Undocumented, all right? Commies, newcomers, all right? Our new friends. That's what we call them. But this is crazy, man. This is crazy. They are justifying the behavior. This is because why? Because you politicize everything. This should not be politicized, but they've politicized it too. And this is why we're having this conversation.
Use the term illegal. So undocumented individuals.
Undocumented individuals.
He answered and said,
who unfortunately engages in that activity.
And we don't like that. I want to be clear. We don't use the term illegal. So
Yeah, we don't.
Undocumented individuals.
That's sweet. They're illegal aliens.
They're illegal aliens. Exactly. Correct.
Undocumented individuals versus anyone else who commits the same crime. Well, I mean, so what you're saying is because you have this instance of individuals behaving badly, that's a reflection of every individual in that community, and that's just not the case.
No,
is it?
What is the case is that because the preponderance.
I mean, what percentage of those people, the 11 million that you want
I'll
to
answer your question.
I just want to clarify my question. Okay. That's what I'm trying to do.
It's going to be a silly question. You see, it's bigger than just crimes, and I think we have to start talking about this correctly because the left is going to focus on this one area and then justify everything else. It's not just the crimes, right? It can impact our voting system. It impacts our taxes. It impacts the welfare institution. It takes away from our veterans. It takes away from our elderlies. It impacts the social security system. It has an impact in so many different ways in the world. It's not just crimes. So when you make it simply about crimes, you miss the point of what is being said. But not only that, right? The crime is one thing. But what about thousands of other people who are waiting in line to come into the United States the right way? They are paying money. They've tested themselves and proven to be worthy to come to this country and add value to this country. What about them that are left behind? I can tell you stories about my father's wife stuck in Haiti, my younger brother in Haiti. So many of them, they are waiting and they want to come, but they can't come. We filed the paper. We've spent thousands of dollars. We got them passports. They got all their shots. I mean, you name it, it's done. We did everything that needed to be done. And now they are sitting and waiting. But there are people that are coming in, skipping the line, and they can't come in. Is that okay? So it's more than just crimes. We have to be able to highlight all the different issues that are happening as a result of this.
That you want
I'll answer your question.
I just want to clarify my question. Okay. That's what I'm trying to do. What percentage of those individuals that you want to get rid of, move out of the country, actually commit crimes?
Our analysis in Texas, Georgia, and New York shows that a preponderance of the illegals who have come in
what's that number?
Are unattached male, and there are unattached males, and the disproportionate number of them are people who are not even making any attempt to be legal.
But what is that number?
Obviously,
are you
a large
talking
number
10
of them
out
have
of
committed.
1,000, or are you talking? I'm just trying to get.
Well, I just would say
doesn't matter what the number is, and he's playing that game because he's trying to play the percentage game, right? If you can't give me a number, therefore you don't have an argument. No, listen, one out of 1,000,000 committing crimes is not good. It's not good. Okay, that's the problem. You don't even need a big number to make a case here. But they trying to play this game. They're trying to play this game with the numbers. That's a problem.
And if Alicia were sitting here and you could hear her, she would say that you are weaponizing a horrific murder to smear 11 million people.
That is a laughable assertion. What Joe Biden.
Of course you will say that. Of course you will say that.
Horrific murder to smear 11 million people.
That is a laughable assertion. What Joe Biden is doing is weaponizing the entire government.
Before we let you go.
Before we let you go, that's the end of the story. So, friends, here we are again with the confusion coming from the left-wing media. It doesn't have to be this way. It is the way it is because they want it to be that way. Unfortunately, we live in some confusing times, friends. When you cannot take care of your own house, right? The people in your own home, you're putting value on foreigners who are not even. I'm sure the love of money is the root of all kind of evil, right? Which while some coveted after the error from the faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. So, who's getting paid is the question. Who benefits from this? Cheap labor, a form of modern day slavery. This is not happening because somebody's not benefiting from it. If it's happening, all right, it's because somebody's making money. And whoever is making money is paying the current administration to perpetuate this matter. There is a system in place, obviously, and I'm not saying I know it and I'm speculating here, but it's very obvious. There's some serious money making behind the scene. Now, we can look at the cartels. I think that's one of them. But I think the rich benefit. I think a lot of politicians benefit. It helps with their voting system. And they're trying to get amnesty for all these illegals, right? In some cases, they are. Who lose? Americans. Who lose? The 12-year-old girl, Jocelyn. Who lose? All of us. All of us. And that's not okay. A lot more could be said. Link in the description below. Like and subscribe to the page. Click the bell icon for more. Share your thought and perspective with me. I want to hear from you. Until next time, have a good one. Bye.